Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome and welcome to the Hour of Politics. I'm Ansony Sieh, as always, here with the Hour of Politics. This edition is going to be exciting because I got some help. And of course, as well, it is an open mic, and we want to welcome you to this special edition of the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. We have some questions, and I have two gentlemen, outstanding gentlemen, by the way, joining me to answer these questions and then bring you in, the listeners, the viewers, the Liberian people, the voters, to chime in on these questions. So we open the phone lines right away. So our main topic are the Liberian people being served well. I think there's an error there. Okay, yeah, that is no error there. I think are Liberians being served well by the political actors? Again, let me bring it to you. Are Liberians being served well by the political actors? We are also asking this question. Are the Liberian people doing themselves justice by the way they support their parties and political leaders? And we also have another question. Are the surrogates of Liberia's political leaders fair, honest, balanced, and on the side of the Liberian people? These two gentlemen will join me as we provide answers and then bring you in the audience to chime in. Again, the numbers are open, comfortably seated, and joining me here, my partner, Dennis Jah. It's always good to have you on the Hour of Politics. Welcome, sir.
It's very strange for me to be during the day at this time, but I'm excited to be on the Hour of Politics. You know, you eat, sleep, and drink politics. So I'm happy to be in the company of the unabashed, the unapologetic Sedition, who is also here on the host of On Point, to be here with us. I'm excited, and we'll say good day, our Liberian people all over the world. This is Focus on Liberia, and as usual, we're broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you so very much. Joining us, like Dennis said, is Mr. Jerome Gilman, the host of our program here at Focus on Liberia, On Point, the man who tries to be on point, but then we realize he is an unabashed, unapologetic Sedition. He is a crusader of the Propo agenda. I don't know what that is. Welcome, Mr. Gilman. It's always good to have you.
Thank you very much. As always, I'm delighted to be here to discuss issues that are affecting our people as current event is concerned. As you know, I am pro-poor. I like and defend the pro-poor agenda and the direction of the country. When it comes to where we are as we speak, the moment in time, if you are into politics, this is what we call a buffet. Mr. Sieh, you are in the buffet of your life. It's easy picking. All the fruits are easily hanging. If you are listening to Liberian politics today, from the CPP to the COP, back to the CPP, back to the COP, I mean, you can have your cake and eat it too. You are blessed. This is your time. Shine.
All right. Thank you there, Mr. Unapologetic Sedition. You know, a lot of politics around, but I've been around not too long, but at least for a little while, to see that Liberian politics have, gone full cycle. If you look back from the time we were growing up and then President Todbot was overthrown, our eyes are open, no more corruption in the cause of the people, the struggle continued. And then we went with President Doe, the Green Revolution, sports, and what have you. Then the war came. And that war, it was devastating. And Liberians took sides, some for their warring factions. And then there were counter-warring factions, everybody doing things their own way, bloodshed, and people took sides as to who they thought was responsible for the carnage. Fast forward, we have the first elected female president, Next to President Tubman, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf served the longest term next to President Tubman, who served 27 years. They were relatively calm. Support were pouring in for Liberia. And so institutions were being set up, whether just to have a check mark to say, well, we did that, so as to satisfy whatever the donors want. That remains to be seen. But now we have what we call a pro-poor government. A man came to power riding on the backs of the ordinary Liberians who felt they were being left behind by the system, wanted somebody of their own. And so they have Mr. George Weah, who became president. And what we heard was, this is the party I wanted to join. That was the song they were being singing. And so now we have politicians and the opposition, the collective opposition felt that this is not the right choice from the very beginning. They thought that, in fact, he was not right for the Liberian people. So from the onset, they decided to collaborate and come together for the sole purpose of defeating him in the next elections. Since then, the country have not been run well, if you ask me. The economy is bad. I don't know if Mr. Jerome will agree with me, but the economy is bad. Our people are calling us more than ever before. The school system is going down with the multiplicity of universities. We still don't really see the kind of quality education that we were opportune to have, those of us who went to high school in the 80s. So now we see that a lot of things going on. Liberians are always hoping for the better. So we see these political actors. It could be the government. It could be the opposition, advocates, and other agitators. The question we have today, are the Liberian people being served well by all these political actors, including the citizens? And so I have come here to be with the political bulldog, Mr. Ansony Sieh, who is on the Hour of Politics. Again, we want to welcome our viewers from across the globe. Let's discuss this. We'll open the phone lines for you to call. Back to you, Mr. Sieh.
Dennis, thank you so very much. You know, that is a very concise and meaningful piece of history. You couldn't have put it so succinctly, and that will set the stage for this discussion. Mr. Jerome Gilman, I will bring you in on our topic. Are the Liberian people being served well by the political actors? We're talking about the current political actors, and take into consideration the piece of history that they gave. That history tells us they have not been served well. Are they being served well by today's political actors?
Well, thank you very much. I would like to push back or disagree with Dennis Jar. I think Dennis Jar is maybe a generation removed from mine, but we came out in similar era. When you look at the political dispensations of the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and the early 2000s, and you compare it to what we have now, we can agree to disagree, but we can actually agree that things have changed for the better. Things need to improve, and there is no doubt about that. But our political actors have done very well in advocating in transformation. Slow as that may be, things have changed for the better of our people. We all knew this, that when education is expanded to the entire nation or to the populace, we know there will be some dilution of the education system for a time being. And then as time goes on, the kings will be removed. And at some point, Toba used to believe in something called gradualism. We build upon things as they are. And we say in the next 10 years, when Ellen started, as much as I complained about what she did, the looting and the corruption and everything else, she did something that I thought were better. And President Weah is here, is improving on it. And I am sure when President Weah leaves, the next group of folks comes along, they will improve on the new foundations that have been set, including you and myself. 10, 20 years ago, you and I were not here, but we are here now. This is an improvement. So yes, while we have a lot to desire, we also have a lot to be thankful for.
And Mr. Gilman, before I come in, I'm just curious, when you talk about things have improved, are you talking about accessibility? Are you talking about quality? Because the story that is, the piece of history that they gave us Even looking at our schools, the very early you mentioned, you said things got better. She said the education system was a mess. Even as we speak today, I'm sure you have seen the pictures of the University of Liberia, Tonmont High, and these are two schools within the heart of Monrovia or just around Monrovia. They are in dilapidating condition. They cannot even be renovated. So tell me, what improvement are you talking about? The world has advanced in terms of technology, in terms of production. All right. So we have cell phone. Just because I'm using cell phone in Liberia, you think the Liberian society has advanced? Is that what you're telling me? Because that's what I'm getting from you.
Oh yes, definitely. I was in Liberia in February, in my village, way in the interior somewhere. When I got to the village, my great auntie, they all have their little flip phone, and there's a Buckapore Hill, a part of the village. They all go there with their signal, and they can call me for their little thing. They can call their friends. The UN have done a very great job.
And so will you credit the political actors to that we should say is important?
Oh yeah,
they are responsible for that?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
The advent of technology after the Civil War brought in that there were no more time for a landline. In fact, the landline system was destroyed. So satellite now becomes our way of communication. So yeah, that's a major improvement. That is the unintended consequences of war, and we will take credit for that.
Thank you so very much. So for me, on the question whether the Liberian people are being served well, I would say hell no. The Liberian people are not being served well by our political actors. I mean, how can that be? We know the Ellen of the war. She came and there was massive goodwill for Liberia. She has left. We don't even have reliable electricity in Monrovia. She had 12 years with the Unity Party, 12 years to provide electricity. Now, I know some of them will say, oh, she turned on the light when she took over. So where is that light? Now, there was a study done to provide internet or infrastructure to build it for Liberia to have a stable internet. That was around $65 million, according to that study. Ellen was in power. Ellen left. That internet grid, $65 million. It could not be built, and it has not been built by the current political actors. In fact, our current political actors have the audacity to turn off the internet just because there was a protest and they felt that that protest was an embarrassment to them. So, Mr. Gibman, if you look at today's political actors, how they are behaved, let me start with the CDC. They came to power, poor boys, some of them were living in the swamp. What we saw, they were taking loans immediately, building mansions. The president took the lead. He has built for himself more than 15 units, and he did that in less than 1 year, all of them completed. But as we speak, he is yet to embark on the construction of a college. Even the renovation of the very university that he decided that he will provide free education for, that University of Liberia is in complete mess. And you tell me that the current political actors are doing well. Let's come to the opposition. See what's happening now. They're fighting on a framework document. And today we are hearing reports of people dying in Liberia here and there. Because of their own infighting, they are now holding their current administration feet to the fire. Now, I don't want to bore you about the process. Janet talked about the economy. The economy is not good, and you know it. We have a finance minister who lies about the economic numbers, the economic indicators. The indicators that he's talking about in their favor not translating into anything that will benefit the Liberian people. So all of these political actors today, they are not serving the Liberian people well.
Well, for some of us, and
hold on, Mr. Gimena, Dennis Jamin.
I think all three of us share similar backgrounds of being born on the other side of the country,
right,
where development is not extended. I personally used to cross at the age of maybe 3 or 4 when I started school. I have to cross 4 creeks to get to school. So Liberia, we have a history of the interior part of the country being neglected by the central government in Monrovia. That's our history. So we are so used to not getting what we deserve. So we probably grew up thinking that that's the way it should be. That became normal for us. So even if someone turn your own tax dollars around and give it to you, you are so appreciative. We saw that with President Tubman. We saw that with President Talbot doling out cash to people, and people are like, "Oh, thank you. He was able to come in my town and do this for me." But Liberian's situation has been very sorrowful from a long, long time, and the political actors. So it looked like we've been conditioned to accept mediocrity because, I mean, there is no history of us ever benefiting from our central government. I remember even census, when census used to come to Dodorican, people run because they believe it's associated with taxes, with taxation. So we have this long history. Coming to today now, so even when we've been abused by our government and the political actors you mentioned, we don't even know it. And so we kind of cleave to our own, whether being it our someone from our ethnic group, someone from our political party, someone from our secret society, or our religious institution. We cleave to them. So no matter what they do, we kind of accept it because we believe when they get something, they will be able to give us as if they are doing us any favor. So the saying that people get the government they deserve, we the citizens ourselves, or we the voters, have not done ourselves justice by demanding the kind of government that will serve us. So I agree that the political actors have not served the Liberian people well, and the voters, the citizens, the ordinary people, we have not served ourselves well by asking the right questions, by demanding what we're supposed to get, and being very forceful. You mentioned the ritualistic killing or reports of ritualistic killings. What are the citizens doing? We're just going to sit there and wait or pray for the Almighty God to come and save us or some Messiah? What are the political leaders or the opposition, collective opposition doing? They are bickering on something that makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, the issue of someone changing document and changing document shouldn't be mentioned in this 21st century when where people are supposed to know better. Take, for instance, someone take a flying sheet of paper around and say, sign this. So when you sign that flying sheet of paper for me, I can slap it on any other document, it'll be your signature. So we have not been served well, and we ourselves as citizens, we have not demanded or we have not compelled them to do the right thing.
Mr. Gilman, go ahead.
Well, yeah, we have to agree on certain things, that our expectations for service delivery is very, very low. And we do this because we cling, like he says, to our own war laws. Like Tip O'Neill used to say, everybody likes their own crooks. Once they are in power, they are the bad guys. When we get there, then we are the good guys. But I would like for me to look at the positive side of some of the things that have happened since our lifetime. Because those of us that were the follower of Marcus Matthews, we talked about constitutional democracy and multi-party system in which competition will compel us to do some things that will benefit the masses. And I'm looking at some of those things because when I was going to high school in the late 70s at the Bassa High School, we had one high school in the 70s in the second county that came to being about the same time, about 1822. We're talking about 200 years. We have one high school. Since 2005, we now have 8 high schools. They are not, we knew this. With the proliferation of the high school, we know the quality will suffer for a time being. So I look at that as not an impediment and failure. This is what I would consider gradualism. We have not built the infrastructure. We are not going to Ghana. We're going to Nigeria.
Mr. Gilman, this gradualism, if I may interject, this gradualism started as far back as you are talking about. How has this gradualism in any way, shape, or form help us? Because I don't see how it translates into improving the material conditions of our people.
Well, let me just give you an example. About 2010, 10 years ago, we got a listing of positions open at Metal Steel. They had about 100 positions open, and they wanted Liberians to apply. And Nathaniel basically sent me the lists. And the list was, when I look at the list, he said, do you have anybody from the Bassa area that you think should fill these positions? And when I look at those positions, I couldn't even pronounce some of the professions on that list. I'm saying this to say that we did not have the qualified people, the people in the country that could do the job. And
So the gradualism failed us right there.
No, it didn't fail. What I'm saying here is, if we have done this from the beginning by doing the massive education that we are doing now, we wouldn't be talking about, can these people read the schematics when it comes to heavy duty mechanic, when it comes to working on the railroad, forget about, they have seismologists on that list, people who determine earthquake when they do blasting. Those are things that by now, if we have done something 100 years ago, but now we should have.
You are dwelling on the past. We're talking about the political leaders of today. I know the history was necessary, but now let's focus on today.
And Mr. Sieh, what Mr. Gilman is saying, he said massive education. Okay, Mr. Gilman and I know that our high school graduates now, on the average, cannot even read at a 6th grade level. You know that.
Yeah.
Okay. You know that the university is putting out graduates that cannot compete with their colleagues anywhere in West Africa. Okay, on the average. I mean, there are some smart, like naturally gifted and smart. I'm not denying that. But the quality of education we're putting out now, is not there. We're working on getting folks from the Ministry of Education, folks from WIAC and all those kind of places to come and really explain where are we. So this idea of massive education, where right now the high school students are taking 10 days to take something called WAS, 10 days. And I was talking to someone from Goodrich, say the first thing we do when we get to the class, the one who is in charge will tell us, you have to collect offerings so that we can take it easy. So that collection of offering, meaning they give money so that the teachers, the proctors will relax the rules. Then in the middle of the day, they collect offering for each course so that they can give them the answers, the multiple choice answers. And they know it. And people are being very dishonest with these things. The educational system is not good, Mr. Gilman. We can see it from the output of our own relatives, nephews, nieces, brothers, sisters, even when they write to you, when they write on Facebook. I mean, things are just bad.
And so some of these people, Dennis, are not cutting you off. They are in government. They try to defend the government they support. When they write, some of them, even superintendents, when they write, you read it, you're like, Jesus, that's what we have. And they are even college graduates. Go ahead, Dennis.
Right. And so back to the question, I don't want us to deviate more. Let's look at, we say the political actors, are they serving well? So let's look at the political actors. And number one, political actors will be those in power, the government, being the legislators, our court system, the ministers. All these people, are they serving us well? There are some that will go to work honestly to work, but by and large, we are not getting what we deserve as a people. And then go to the opposition side. These are all political leaders. These are leaders who are supposed to call out and hold the government feet to the fire. Are they doing that to the benefit of the Liberian people? The answer is no. Because what happened is we always, as Pierre Lumumba said, we canonize the thieves, and then we disdain and lambast the sins. So we praise people when they are in our corner. I watched the ANC press, the secretary. I mean, he was talking about Henry Pedro Costa of COP and Benina Ure of ALP, as if these were just some, cold-blooded criminals from somewhere else. And I'm asking myself, these are the people you've been working with for the past 3 years. What changed? Is it because they are not dancing to your drum beats now? Is that what changed? So who, and then we see citizens, including Mr. Gilman, who will dance to the drum beat of
The
whoever they are
side he
supporting.
supports.
And we don't call them out.
Well,
And we say, okay, it's gradual. At least they are doing well.
And Mr. Gilman, before you come in, thank you for that excellent point that Gilman, Dennis. Mr. Gilman, before you come in, let me show you something. What I'm about to show you is a high school in Sastan. That is the town of the president. And before I show, let me let you know, at some point, the current minister of education, was sent to Sastan. The president junta, I am also from that time, so I have high authority on this one, okay? D. Musi Sonny, I think that's how they call his name. He went to Sastan, and there was not even a fitting chair. So he sat on a stool, and I have that picture. Now, he came from Sastan 3 years ago. He promised the people that the school will be renovated. There he said it was the president, George Manawia, that sent him to Sastan. 3 years later, here is the school. In fact, the president was just there. I believe it's this year when he danced that war dance, when he went with Franti Kofa. Guess what he did when he went to Sastan? I'm told that he gave $1 million Liberian dollars to the people. The chief, everybody dividing the money. When in fact, you are talking about my education. This is Sastan High, built by President William Arrow Tobo. Way back, look at the school. The education minister went there 3 years ago. He promised, he said the president sent him. The president said went there. The teachers that are there, I'm in conversation with them. They have been crying on the legislators, Funati Kofa and Peter Coleman. Fortunately for Sastan, these are 3 individuals from the very town of Sastan. Peter Coleman, Funati Kofa, and the president. And the citizens and the teachers been telling them about this school. This school serve the Boao, and the Ground and the Sastan district. This school, Bekube, your man is yet to renovate the school. And you said, yeah, you say, oh, mass education. To prove it, yes, Sastan High School. It was renovated by the Danish Refugee Council some years ago. So, Mr. Gilman, tell me, when we say the political actors are not serving us well, this is what it is. Your turn.
Well, listen, your story is not unique. And we know this because I'm from Basa. We have posted these pictures. There are hundreds of thousands of these projects all over the country. We expect that the president should be the miracle worker. He should be able to do all of this at once. And it's not feasible, it's not possible. When you look at the work the president has done in the Monrovia area, when you talk about, I will use this school.
Mr. Gilman, sorry to interrupt. It is not the president. We're talking about political actors. It is
no.
Okay.
I just called 2 names: yes, the senator and the representative.
But let's be fair too. Now, we are talking about a few years ago, 30 years ago. There were those who we consider the Liberian elites, the real political bourgeois, that told us that we needed to break down everything in the country, that it was going to be rebuilt. In less than a year, it would draw war and remove those.
Mr. Gilman, we are talking about today's political actors.
But this is what
history you're talking about. It's true, but let's focus on today's political actors.
This is what we are talking about. We are talking about the unintended consequences of war. And now those who are here.
Do you know how many years now since the war ended, Mr. Gilman? Do you know how many years now since the war ended?
We are talking about development. We're talking about improvement that we made over 150 years. We broke them down in 14 years.
What development we had many years ago before the war that you know of? What was the development that Liberia had?
According to you and my brother Jai here, according to him, they had quality education prior to the war. And since the war, there's no more quality education. And I'm telling you that in the presence of mass education, quality will suffer. That's just the plain fact. So what we are saying here is the actors, yes, they need to do more. We know this, okay? But what we are talking about here is that some people say, if they squeeze, what the juice? And I'm saying at this point, the juice is not enough, but it's worth the squeeze. We need to continue to do what we are doing and not denigrate, tear down what we have. For instance, one of the things that I frowned upon was everything that Doe did, that Doe built. Instead of Ellen improving on it based on the Tolbert model that we're going to do gradualism, she decided to break down everything, to basically erase everything Doe did, okay, to erase him out of history. And I'm glad that when President Weah came in, he didn't do the same thing. He's finishing some of the project that Ellen started and then starting his own. So yes, the actors have not been perfect, and we are learning, but we have done very, very well. We've done better than the past.
Thank you.
And Mr. I don't like, most of the time people focus on infrastructure by the time we mention Liberia. So
yeah,
you are not different, right? And that's why you mentioned, but infrastructure is not just the thing. And that's why I don't give credit to when people say, oh, Tubbo did this, and all they point out is, oh, he built this road, he built this school. Yeah. The same thing is with President Weah. It looked like President Weah knows very well that at 10 years down the road, people will not remember any system that he left behind. They will remember infrastructure. So he's trying to build this hospital, even if there's no bed in it. He's trying to build this road, even if it is going to be destroyed during the rainy season. He's doing all this because people respond mainly back to what they see. So they look at the project. Oh yeah, he built the estate in Southtown. He built this. He built that. But then when it comes to the institution, the very engine that's supposed to back these things up, it comes to the institution that's supposed to support these things, policies that are going to last even after you leave. I mean, there's no attention paid to them. LACC, for instance, there's much left to be desired. GACC and all these integrated institutions. Our court system that's supposed to really have the teeth to hold people accountable and responsible. Every day we hear of ritualistic killing in Liberia. We are not hearing anything what the police is doing or how they are trying to allay the fears of the people that they are safe. So we don't build this institution, we just build infrastructure, even if they will not last after we leave. So I see you going in that direction. Oh, we build this, we build that, we build that. I'm not moved by that. Let's look beyond that. And that's why you are making reference to Ellen. And I'm not saying, yes, Liberia was better or Liberia was good or Ellen did this and Weah is not. I'm not comparing Ellen and Weah. That's not. I'm looking at a government. I'm looking at institutions. I'm looking at right now in my hometown. They say the teachers, if you have 50 years or something, you are pension. You're not supposed to teach, but they don't replace them. So we're trying to get money to at least still keep those people on the payroll. I mean, the system is just corrupt, and we are just pointing at buildings. Come on now.
Well, let me push back real quick here. And those of us who like to improve on system, I mentioned to you that my suggestion, and I'm not saying that I had anything to do with the crafting of the Propo agenda, but when we talk about things called best practice, one of the things that Dwight Eisenhower told the American people, he said, if the United States government wants to be number one in the world, we need to connect all of our 50 states. And in 1956, he introduced the Interstate Highway Act that connected California to New York, New York to Florida. He said once our goods and services can leave the West and go to the East, and the country doesn't sleep, the economy is going to bound, and we will be catapulted to number one. So some of us who knew that the Liberian government, the Liberian people have the potential to create the economy that will catapult us to the next level, we said, embark on the roads and connect the 15 counties. Let the food from Lofa County come to Basso.
Mr. Gaiman.
So, Mr. Gaiman, hold on, Mr. Gaiman.
Yeah,
you're talking about an act that was passed in Congress. Do we have an act on this road thing you're talking about at the legislature that will pass so that it can be in the budget? Do we have that?
Yes, and this is what we call the Propo.
So what is the name of that act?
Listen to this. The Propo agenda, payload number 2 is exactly that. So we are saying here.
Was that passed by the national legislature as a national program for road development?
Yes. And if you want
that is not to my knowledge. Go ahead.
Yes. So what we are saying here is if Lofa County is the breadbasket of the country, and they have everything that we need, and Grand Bassa County is the seafood industry of the world, where you can get everything from the sea, but we cannot get our seafood to Lofa, and Lofa cannot get their food to Grand Bassa County and in between. And if you were to build a road in Lofa, and you can connect Grand Bassa County, if I can take my produce, my fish, my crawfish, my everything from Grand Bassa County and go to Lofa and come back the same day, the economy is going to boom. So that's the logic between.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman.
That's a very
thank you, Mr. Gilman. And this before you make your point there, the last time I saw anything sent to the legislature concerning road construction was when this Iboman thing and Eton thing came about. So they had something sent to the legislature. It was passed. The president has signed. Unfortunately, our government could not raise that funding from those two financial institutions. So it became dead. Any other road construction that is going on now, because you are certain, I know Dwell Eisenhower, he's created the act to build roads. That is something that we need. You are making reference to something that your government is not even following that very simple example. Then let's go ahead.
Right. And what I'm about to say is it's very easy to look at these things and say, hey, we are doing the let build roads. Do you know of any study that says, okay, this is what we need, this is the blueprint, or we just do this knee-jerk reaction, oh yeah, we're supposed to build, and doesn't it occur to you that, hey, all these years, why have we not been able to build these roads? I mean, there's something that's wrong. That on Sunday we had a young man on this platform who did and I'm going to butcher the name here, as Ansony would say, that transportation engineering. Mm-hmm. He kind of look at mass transportation. So now, if you see the traffic jam from Painesville to Monrovia every day, and you know how much is lost just by sitting there, somebody say, okay, we can redesign this system to have smooth traffic flow, and you're going to save a lot of money on gas, on pollution, on man hours that are wasted just sitting in the traffic. These are the things that people look at. For a long time, our area is just water, wet. So sometimes constructing this road is very difficult, and it costs so much money. Someone is saying we can look at railroads, which will be far cheaper to move our cargo. You talk Lofa being the breadbasket. What if we have a train route from Lofa all the way to the southeast? Okay, that can take all these things. So we are not looking at re-engineering, redesigning, and thinking about these things thoroughly. We just responding to something. Oh yeah, we need the road, and boom, we jump in the street. We start building the road. After some time, the road is washed away, and we are back to square one. So it's like the guy who is screwing a bulb. Every time you put the bulb there, it blows off. You get another bulb and put it there. You get another bulb. You are not looking at, okay, what could be the root cause for which this keeps happening, so that we can change it. So it calls for new way of thinking. And you do this by training people, develop the human capital. There is a colleague in Ghana, he's a PhD, he's teaching there, and he's saying, I went to the University of Liberia, and you can count on your fingers how many PhDs are teaching there. So I propose something to the government that, hey, we can do something and develop, at least train 100 PhDs within the next 10 years. And these PhDs that will train, they will be the one to man those community colleges, because what we're looking at is improving those community colleges from college level to university. So you train people, individuals. We have all this talent and knowledge almost like wasting in America. There is no plan to say, okay, what can we do to attract this talent like Jerome Gilman and take them back home, even if they could be there for 4 years. We have our kids here graduating from college. You know, young people below 30 years old, they are still single, that the government can tap into and say, hey, come and do a piece of job for us for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, do something. And we start to train and develop our human capacity. That will help then always building things, with building roads, without even developing the people that are supposed to take over. You give an example of people in Metal Steel looking for people to employ, and they couldn't find one. Why? Because we have not paid attention to developing our human capital.
Mr. Gilman, before you come in so that we can see if we have callers here, Again, Mr. Goodman, this is Tottenham High. We are telling you the political actors of today are not serving us well. So this is Tottenham High, one of Liberia's most prestigious high school that produced the best and the brightest, to include Samuel Twe. President Weah went on this campus. They were surprised that it was in so much bad shape. Since then, I think the president bought iron chairs, and that's all he could do. Look at the building. This is the finance minister school he graduated from. He is finance minister. A thing has not been done about this school as we speak. There was so much outrage when that happened. Some people are saying, oh, the poor education minister should be fired. You know who does the budget? It's the executive branch of government that drafts the budget. And that is the school. Are they serving us well?
I mean, like I told you, we have to agree on most of the other stuff. And then we disagree on some. Some of the things that we have to agree on is the reason there is an opposition. The objective of an opposition is to oppose the bad policies in government and also propose the solution to those policies. We don't have an opposition in Liberia that will say, well, Mr. President, you went to Tottenham High School 7 months ago. These were the promises that were made, and nothing has happened since then. Instead, what we see here is, and from when I get off this line, I'm going to go back into the system myself and inquire what's happened to the trip that the president made, the promises that were made in his hometown, Tottenham High School.
Now you are on point. When it comes to the opposition, you on point, and I agree with you. Go ahead.
And we are going.
But you were off point when we were talking about your propo government.
Oh, now there you go. It is the propo guy who is saying, I am going to do my own home research and find out what has happened since the visits to these different schools. What are the plans and all of that? I'm going to find out, and I'm going to make the report to you. But the opposition that's supposed to help, like you are doing, to hold the president responsible, to hold the administration responsible with outcomes, with timeline. They are incapable of doing this. So basically what the opposition is doing is exactly what the vice president said when we all went down her throat, when she said, it is our time to chop. And we know this. It is not the time to chop. It is not our time to chop. It is basically the time for the Liberian people to chop. And when we say chop, some of us who are in and supporting this administration, we are saying when we say chop, for the Liberian people to chop, not basically to eat. If the Liberian, like Mr. Jai said, if the Liberian child saw a very good school in his or her neighborhood, that's chopping for that child. If the child saw a hospital, a well-staffed hospital, that child and that mother, because we are reducing infant mortality, that child has chopped.
Yeah,
that's what we are talking about when it's our time to chop. So we, as the people, because we have a very
Mr. Goodman, how did this culture of chopping come into play? Everybody wants to chop.
Yeah, because of the illiteracy rate of our country and our people.
And you mentioned the opposition. So one thing I would just want to
that's the point I want you to come to, right? And Mr. Goodman, let me hold you there, and then both of you, please hold 1 minute. Let me lay the basic on this point. Very good point by Mr. Goodman there. So we just showed the Saston High School, and we said the president was there. We said the president sent the education minister there. 3 years later, the school is still the same. We have the lawmakers of that county, the school stayed the same. Tottenham High, the president was there. The education minister was there. The finance minister is from there. The University of Liberia, we all seen the pictures. And many other schools that we have not seen, Dennis. What is the current opposition doing? Why can't commies go to that Tottenham High and go with the media and say, I just want to see the school? Mr. President, this is your responsibility. This school is not befitting for the Liberian people's children. Why he can't go on the university campus? The same can be said about Boaka. Why can't Boaka go there? The same can be said about Benin Ure. Why Ure can't visit any of the campus? The president was here a few months ago. He promised he was going to renovate the school. Why it has not been done yet? But what are they
Mr.
doing
Mr.
now?
Sieh, I will
They are
tell you
fighting
why.
among themselves, and this is a shame, and they are not serving the Liberian people. Go
And I
ahead.
will tell you why,
Mhm.
why they are not doing that.
Mhm.
Because they are consumed by something else. And one of those things that's consuming there, I will play 3 videos here for you
Mhm.
because it takes an opposition to say, okay, what is it that we want? Is it power or is it something that's going to serve the nation right? So they are focused on themselves. And so most of the issues in the country are left. So we are left like that, right? Because they must satisfy their own political ego. So let me play. We have 3 major opposition uh, in the CPP now. So the 3 of them right now they are consumed by something. I will play 3 videos and tell me if this is what is consuming them, how can they focus on ritualistic killing? How can they focus on the economy that they are the alternative? How
Mhm.
can they focus on the Southtown High School or the Tottenham High School or the University of Liberia in dilapidated condition? How can they focus on the Dodrican Elementary and Junior High School where the teachers are being pensioned without being replaced? And so most of the students say, these people are not serious, we're going back to the gold mine. See what is consuming them. This is Yombly Kanga.
Thank you. And let me just close by saying, because I know that there will be question about political leaders' role in the CPP, because one of the reasons why Mr. Cummings walked away today, he questioned the role of the political leaders to appoint the committee. In the framework document of the CPP, there are several structures. The National Advisory Council is the highest decision-making body in the absence of the National Assembly. And in that body, the chairpersons of the different political parties and the heads of our legislative caucuses, they are just observers. The 4 political leaders are the only people to make the decision and vote. So it boiled down to us making the final decision when it comes to the CPP. And so that should be noted. That gives us the authority to set up any committee as we did in this case.
All right. So that was Yombly Kanga saying, hey, we the political leaders, we have the right to do whatever we want to do to a point. Then it's what I'm trying to get at is they have been their focus now is about something called a framework document. Here is VP Bwaka, the elderly statement, thinking that is one person who's responsible for all the trouble. And here's what VP Bwaka is.
Well, let me just say here, what is the difficulty in 4 people having a document to say we have some funds, let us look at it to make sure that all of us are on board? What's the difficulty in that? All of us should be satisfied with the document we have. Why should one person defer on that? If they're coming were the one who were dissatisfied, we would still have to meet to review the document to make sure that we are all.
That is VP Bwaka. So you get what I'm saying. And all this started with Mr. Benina Ure, who is saying there's problem with our framework document. So when people are so focused on this, what else do you think they're going to have time for?
Dennis, define that this. When people are so focused on themselves, how they get power, and in this case, how to get another chance, all right, to loot, and yet claiming that they are doing this for the Liberian people, then the Liberian people are left to fend for themselves. And this is what we have. Dennis, the colors are ready to roll in. Folks in cyberspace, you are watching a special edition of the Hour of Politics with me, Ansony Sieh, your host. But we have Dennis Jah joining us, and we also have a member of the Propo government joining us. He's Mr. Jerome Gilman, but he is a member of the Focus on Liberia crew here, and he holds our program on point. He's sometime on point today, and somewhere he was not on point. But we understand that he got to do his job. So, folks, this is why we want you to do when you call. We are ready to take your calls right now. So the first question we want you to answer when you call is, are the Liberian people being served well by the political actors? 2, are the Liberian people doing themselves justice by the way they support their parties and the political leaders? Because what we see is, if I'm from CDC, in the case of Mr. Gilman, he justifies. Yeah, it's okay. And, and then he intellectualizes the discussion. Now, also, are the surrogates of Liberia's political leader fair? Are they honest? Are they balanced? Or are they on the side of the Liberian people? We want to know. Because what we see when you are, let me use my GM brother George Lobo. When you are George Lobo, all is well on Unity Party. Bwaka is the best leader that ever, or work on the land called Liberia. That's why he would tell you. And if you are from ANC, Mr. Clean, he is the guy. But this Mr. Guy would not go to Thomas Hart and tell him, Mr. President, you were here for this school. What happened? He's not asking that question. They are fighting among themselves. For Ure, he's in a club. I don't want to waste my time on him. So, folks, the phone lines are open. Let me bring in the crew here, comfortably seated to get it started. Then let me see if we have a caller, and they are here. They are here. Dennis, what do you think? We should take them right now?
Yeah, let's take the callers.
All right. The man, Jimmy Eastman, is the first man. Jimmy, let's hear you. Let's hear you. Don't waste time.
Hello.
Yes, Jimmy, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Excellent talk. Okay, the Liberian people serve well by the political institutions, and I want to approach it this way. First of all, if you the Liberian leaders are constrained by the system they work in. For instance, our president today, he was a good player in Africa, in Liberia, for IE, but it was not until he went abroad and started playing in a different league that he excelled. So in other words, the system that you're playing in has an effect, can even restrain or constrain your development and the way you behave. So it has been identified in Africa, the reason that we have poor governance and bad politics. And one of the reasons is that there's extreme centralization of power in the hands of few people. Okay? That means the only way to get rich has been through the political office. Okay? So that intensifies corruption, and it also leaders tend to cling to political power. This is why it's so disastrous for African economy, because there is no other way they know how to be wealthy. We have to change the framework. The framework under which they work. There has to be other ways toward wealth and political power. And then that's what we'll do. But if you have the system as it is, where centralized power, where there's no other way for you to get wealthy, you'll find any leader that goes and aspires to leadership will do the same thing.
So, Jimmy,
we have to rethink.
Jimmy, the other question for you is, and you have 1 minute left, please. We want to reduce it to 1 minute. Are the Liberian people doing themselves justice by the way they support their parties and political leaders? And the final question is, are the surrogates of Liberia's political party fair, honest, balanced, and on the side of the Liberian people? Quickly, 1 minute.
The question of supporting your, yes, you have to, I understand why one will want to support, but what do we support? We're supposed to support things that are good, in other words, things that are virtual, things that are benefit, than a party. In other words, if you see one of your representatives doing something that is against the country's interest, is against your interest, is against your neighbor's interest, then you can call them out. That's how you do it. Okay, but I do expect to see loyalty to some extent. But when somebody is wrong, if we don't learn how to call a wrong no matter who does it, we'll never change.
Thank you, Jimmy.
So long you can't tell the man, no, you're doing wrong. Okay? And the last question, right? The last question was, you got to repeat it.
Are the surrogates of the Liberian political leaders fair, balanced, and on the side of the Liberian people? Quickly. The surrogates like George Lobo, Henry Costa, the people that support these political, their mouthpiece.
A lot of it is just personal aggrandizement. A lot of people support what they want for personal gain. I do not see idealism. I do not see ideas being supported as much as we believe that from now on we're going to build capacity.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And I believe in this leader because he wants to build capacity. I don't see that a lot.
Thank you. We have a caller from Dennis, and Dennis, bring in that caller.
Yeah, go ahead. Call out your name and where you calling from. Prince.
All right. That caller seems not to be
Now,
ready.
let's take the next caller. That would be
All right.
Leo.
Let's see.
Dennis, I'm here. I'm muting myself for background noise. I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, Prince.
Thank you, Dennis. Thanks to Focus on Africa and thanks to the panelists.
Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia, please.
As I listen to you guys expand on the issues that is currently affecting our country, let me first, before I come on, try to say that we need to shine, talk more on the issue of security and the ritualistic killing that is taking place. We need to call on the government to do something to provide for the security of our people. It is the funding, it's the foundation. Actually, it is the branch. I mean, the root or the tree of which all the constitutional provision is built on. In Article 1, the government is there to provide for the safety and the well-being of our people. So we should call on the government. Yes, the opposition has to also call on the government. They can do that through maybe advocacy or going out there, or they can do that through the lawmakers and the representatives as well. And having said that, I would look first. I'll go from the bottom top. I think your question was: are the surrogates of those zero political party being fair and balanced? I think it was the question. Was it if my paraphrase, could you directly ask me the question?
That's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, my point is most of these surrogates are actually just political agitators, and they're hoping to be major players. And I hope they will grow from being from the agitated state to more or less to the political advocacy state. You know, in politics, you want to be able to speak on the issue, and instead of agitating other sides, you want to speak on the issue and be. And the issues are the issue that affects the dynamics of the democracy or the politics that is taking place. Insulting political leader, calling names, denigrating, castigating, even to the point of demeaning their character and accusing them of what is illegal practices is nothing fair for the Liberian people, because the Liberian people wants people to champion the cause of what's happening on the ground. People are hungry. Like you said, no better equipment for school, roads, and all those things. Those are the things they should be talking about. So I don't think they're fair to the Liberian people. They are only fair to their own personal self-aggrandizement or to their own political agenda and the aspiration of the political party and the political leaders, and not the aspiration of the Liberian people. So my question is, they are not fair to the Liberian people. And also, and then just to quickly, as I conclude, I heard you did mention about opposition leaders and what they're supposed to be doing and what they're not supposed to be doing. And the thing is that what's saddening me is that too often we try to see opposition political party as the supplement of the supplement nutritional factor to good governance in the country. It's not. That's opposition is just opposition, and that's what they are. They are not supposed to be building roads. They are not supposed to be building donating to school or providing for political expedience. They can do that if they want to, but they are not responsible. We have a government that been elected and mandated by the people on a constitutional mandate to do these things. If they
The question is, are the opposition people doing their work?
Speak on those things. I'm sorry?
Are the opposition people holding the government feet to the fire as we speak?
No, they are not. They are not. They are not holding the government feet to the fire. I can tell you clearly, neither of them are holding the government feet to the fire, because there is two ways the opposition function that is in the framework and the dynamics of our democracy. One, the opposition can use, they have lawmakers, opposition have lawmakers. They can impress upon the lawmakers to use the legal process, the prosecutor or the other representative of the government. And two, the opposition can do advocacy. They can go out there and maybe do peaceful demonstration or peaceful assembly, or they can go over there and have move out there and rally the people so the people can stand up for their own cause. That the opposition can do. The opposition can go base school. Opposition can go not responsible for donating. They can do that for political expediency, like I said.
Are they debating the issue? Are they proffering? Hold on, Prince. Are they debating the issues? Are they proffering alternatives? Do they have their plans that the Liberian people know?
They do, in my opinion, and as I've seen it, and then that's the problem I have currently now. They are not providing alternative. They are not providing an option And like I said, and I don't want to be too repetitive, they all are just seeking their own aspiration, not the aspiration of Liberian people.
Thank you, Prince.
As it stands.
Thank you. Dennis, let's take another call.
Thank you, Prince.
Let's take Leo. Leo, let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, Dennis and Ansony.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just Leo Theo Swore. I'm calling you guys from the last of the sun's up. Okay? Look, I think that you should sometimes you guys ready to shoot for sometimes I know cannot be in the same side. I get patient sometimes on listening to your comments, but again, it's from this. But then one thing I want you guys to know, we all know the change in man's life is very good. You yourself, you know, to live from one locality to another is not an easy thing to do. So like what I have to say, to change the mentality of people and to change the way of doing of people. Look, we're not going to say that this government has never preached on the matter of change for good, right? But what would you take into consideration is that
Leo, are you answering the questions? Are the political actors of today serving Liberian people well?
No. My answer is no. My answer is completely no. No.
Okay.
No. It's completely no. Yes.
You
may ask me why, I will tell you. It is simple. The thing is very simple. Everybody are coming into politics today. They're not coming to fix the problem. They are coming to pay back. I was in opposition for 12 years. I was marginalized. I was still having the good of today. And now I'm there. I'm going to get what I have to get. So the answer is absolutely no. Okay? But Derek, now I tell you about Anthony. You know, you only mentioned the person that you're in the same time. You got to be a safe for tomorrow. And we have focused the attention on Southtown and start putting cash away in Southtown. Don't stop teaching. Because he's from this village, all the reasons of the Liberian people going to the village. Sometimes we have to be objective. That's the reason why today, President, we don't have no immediate relatives in the government. We saw it when every put all our immediate relatives or ex-boyfriend children in our position. And all of them got rich. We all complain.
So are you saying that because he doesn't have immediate relatives, so he's doing a good job because he has not built, renovated the school in Southtown that I talk about is a government school where he sent the minister.
No, excuse me.
All right, please conclude. We have a lot of callers waiting. Please conclude. Yeah, please conclude.
Yes, the first thing, one person, we have first started out on lighting of the various internet villages. When it's time for Southtown, you put complain. Because he's for Southtown, you put light in Southtown. When you start going to other nearby villages, it was something you don't have nothing to say. So what I'm saying is, if we are able to sort of make Southtown as compared to Morovia, they will still complain.
Leo, thank you. I see that you are on a justification mission here, Leo. Thank you. Bye-bye. Let me bring in the man, John Maulo. John, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Listen, I think, Liberia's problem is we're always trying to deal with the branches instead of the root of the problem. Liberia's problem is ignorance. Ignorance, which yields poverty, and poverty will yield disease. Listen, if the people, we the people, don't know what our rights are, and don't know what is good for us, nobody else, every other function dies. Things that we're asking the government or the opposition to do is the people that need to stand. When the Black Lives Matter started in this state, no senator started it, no representative started it, no opposition party started it. It was the people. When the people killed that man on the street, it was the people. Liberian people need to understand what they need to do and what they deserve to force the opposition and the government to do what they got to do. Now, as far as opposition suggesting, we got to understand our mindset. And this is open secret. I'm a staff member of the ANC. Alexander Cummings has given this government more than 3 times economic proposal, economic advice. That is only go to Coca-Cola.
So, John, are you saying Cummings as an opposition leader is doing what he's supposed to do?
The opposition is doing some of what they're supposed to do, or nobody is doing what they're supposed to do.
All right.
Because the people, we the people, don't demand what's supposed to be done for us.
Thank you, John.
It has to start with us.
Thank you, John.
We the people.
Thank you, John. We have a lot of callers, please. We back, please.
What John is saying is, hey, even though Mr. Minister or Mr. Lawmaker, you swear to defend and protect the Constitution, but unless the people don't call on you, don't do anything. That I'm understanding.
Yeah, he said the people need to hold them accountable.
Right.
When they're not doing their job. I mean, the last time I signed up at my job, when I show up to a job, I do my job. I don't wait for my supervisor to come, hey, Sonny, you're supposed to be there. That is the case here. Let's bring in this caller. Caller, your name is Anthony Nimland. Let's hear you, Mr. Nimland.
Yeah, good day, gentlemen. How you all doing over there?
Very well.
Excellent.
The issue, you have a minute.
Yes, sir. It's a very good topic. And if you asking me or you trying to pin me down to a definitive yes or no based on the question, I would say I fail to defer because the question asked is, are lawmakers, in a nutshell, doing what they're supposed to do for the people? It depends who you are.
So let me read the question to you. Are the Liberian people being served well by the political actors? That includes those in the cabinet, those in the legislature, everybody at the executive, those who have role to play in the government. Are they serving the people they were either appointed or elected to serve well?
Yes. I would say yes, and I would say no. Because not everyone in the government is giving it their 100%. Whereas there are others.
So give me the people that are giving their 100% and give me 2% who are not giving their 100%.
I cannot pin you down to 2% because it is like asking of criminal in court to prove intent. You cannot prove intent.
But you said yes or no. That meaning some are doing well and some are not. So give me the instant where some are doing well and give me the instant where others are not doing well.
Okay, now let us look at current infrastructure and let us look at past infrastructure based on Monrovia alone. Because Liberia
is Monrovia Liberia now?
It's not Liberia yet.
Okay.
If it is not, excuse me, sir. If it is not Monrovia, then it is not Liberia. Whereas people in Grand Bassa County are suffering, people in Southtown are suffering.
And you think the high is supposed to be because the Monrovia thing has been on from St. JJ Robert time. They've been focusing on Monrovia. They're still doing it. And you said they're still doing well, some of them.
Okay, that's where I'm coming from. Okay, you have Southtown. You just gave an example of Southtown. You gave an example of Grand Bassa County.
That is correct.
Okay, now, what about Lipa County? What about Pittman County? Are these not part of Liberia?
They definitely are. You can give an example too.
The same thing goes on. As you, Anthony, and Brother John, tell me if I'm lying, that our Lone Star team is only built on players in Monrovia. Am I lying?
You see, that's why they are not doing well. You say some are doing well, but you have not given me the some that are doing well.
Okay. Those that are doing well. Okay, let us look at my president, for example. I would say my president because I'm a Liberian, and yes, he's a friend of mine.
Okay? Oh, okay. You brought friendship in it. So I see why you're defending this thing here because they're your friend.
I am being partisan right now because if I say I'm a Liberian, yes.
Okay.
But on the other hand, yes, he's still a friend. I will never deny a friend.
Oh, I see. So, but you can deny Liberia.
No, I will not. Listen to me, please, sir. You are the court. Okay, I will say, my friend, how are you? How is your family? What can I do to help you? Those are two questions from friends, right? Of one who is concerned.
All right.
I'm concerned about my country. I would love to come and help in the law enforcement sector.
All right.
I would love to do that.
All right.
fine, because I want to make a difference. Okay?
Mr.
As
Nimlan.
well as you are making a difference right now. You have the microphone. You have the power to make a change.
All right.
So you are one of those.
Mr. Nimlan, we have to go. We are here advocating for the Liberian people, but you are saying your man is doing well. Please conclude.
I'm a Liberian.
Yeah, please conclude.
I'm a Liberian. So now,
yeah,
we have infrastructure. We have Todmore High. You have other schools.
What Todmore High? You think that Todmore High is living? It's dead. You didn't see the picture we show you? Mr. Nimlan, please conclude. We have other callers, please.
Yes, Todmore High is in a deplorable condition. So
and you think who's supposed to fix it, Mr. Nimlan?
The citizens.
The citizens supposed to fix the school?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Nimlan, we have to take another caller. Thank you. Let's leave it there, Mr. Nimlan, because of time. Let's take another caller. Let's bring in the man, Waiton Ketter. Waiton, which side you support or who do you support before you speak? Declare your side here.
I support the Liberian people.
No, that is not true.
But why are you taking on Waiton?
You support President we are, then you will not tell me. So you are denying President we are. You have been supporting today.
The question that you put on your platform does not say PDC or opposition.
The question is political actors. President we are is a political actor.
But there are 1,000 other political actors.
So why do you need to speak?
So do you support President we are or not, Mr. Ketter?
I do support President we are.
Go ahead, my brother. Make your point.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I will take it another notch.
Okay.
I believe strongly that when you say political actors, you should not only put the brush on the politician. You say you're a politician. The fact that you discuss in politics make you a politician.
Oh yeah, so I agree. I'm acting too.
Okay, hold on. We all have a moral responsibility to making sure that our country moves from where it is to a higher height. The reason is here. We gave our people false hope. We gave our people false hope in the sense that we tell them things that are not realistic.
When you say we, you're talking about the CDC people?
All of us in the political space, all of us.
Okay.
We give them things that are not realistic. We tell them that development can happen overnight. Development is a process, it's not an event. And that's the thing with preaching. Even the present leadership, the opposition, the past leadership, these are things to tell the people. They don't educate the people that to fill role, it will take 4, 5, 6 years. They don't tell the people that will educate people because our education system is damaged. It will take another 25 years to start getting on par with some other countries in Africa that we were on par with before. Because our education system is rocky. So we need to start educating our kids.
All right.
From kindergarten, giving them foundation. We don't do that. But we come and tell people, oh, the country not doing it. That's the wrong message. If the person you support tomorrow, when the person comes in, the people will say the country not doing well because to change like that overnight is a myth. That really time to change.
Thank you, Mr. Ketter. Thank you, Mr. Ketter. Mr. Jah, can we go to some comments? Mr. Jah.
Let's do that.
Yeah, please handle that. I'm doing something else here.
All right. Armstrong Collins said, you guys are so much focused on the political leaders. The real opposition to this government should be the lawmakers who are being paid by the Liberian people. What changes can a ABC and a JNB make without power? Jimmy Ismail said, Ansony Sieh, the political actors are just keeping the status quo. They are not trying to revolutionize the system. Revolution requires radical change, not militancy, as many of our compatriots think. It requires examining what is fundamentally flawed and taking radical corrective action. Mr. Gilman, what do you say to that?
Well, I think both of the comments, when you look at what Mr. Ismail is saying, when those of us who have thought about the political processes and systems, in fact, I made this clear in 2010 when the CDC government was running, and I made it clear in 2005 when the LA folks were coming, and we said this. Liberia has a unitary system, and unitary systems have never worked around the world. Basically, you are crowning a king or a queen. Absolute power, this is what it does. And I spoke to Dr. Dunn. I said, Dr. Dunn, for those of you who are advisors to the president, don't you think it would behoove the Liberian folks that we have some quasi-federal system where things like revenue sharing, power sharing, decentralization of our education, our health, all of these things to come into play where the president will not be so powerful as appointing something called notary public. Can you imagine the president does that? It is the system. And Mr. Eastman is talking about the system has to be radically changed. And if that's going to happen, the unitary system that we have in Liberia have never served us well. It have never served anywhere well. And it is flawed. And that system has to change. Unitary system has never worked around the world. It will never work in Liberia. President Weah comes in, he does what he can. When he leads the next guy come in, he does what he can. This is why Mr. Brunskin and now Mr. Cummings, when I asked Mr. Cummings, do you want to be senator? Do you want to be vice president? He said, no, absolutely not. I can only make a difference at the top. I can only make a difference by being president. So this is our problem.
Thank you. I don't know by default, you also saying the federal system will work. Then let's look at Nigeria. Let's look at Ghana that has unitary system, but that's another topic, right? If you say decentralized, I agree. But let's get more comments here. Riverside Pro is saying hi from Wisconsin. His question, did he say when we are leave there will be improvement? Didn't we also say that 12 years ago? We say the economy is bad. Hamba Ladi, things have changed for the better of our people. Really, Mr. Given, every institution in Liberia is extremely poorly managed. Our people are in complete disarray. You got a bunch of disrespectful, power abusers, political leaders destroying our country, and you are talking about better change. Dauda is watching from London.
Yeah.
Bella picking the same backers mafia who brought this we into politics that is causing lives being lost by the day. Data from the that beautiful land of plenty has never been fortunate with wise leaders. This time it is about complete change. No recycling. Carl, that's our public policy analyst here on Focus on Liberia. Say people are no longer sincere about advancing Liberia and the Liberian people. We have become consumed by hero worship and sycophancy. Politicians have become the target beneficiaries of their political activism, not the suffering masses.
Nonsense.
That's nonsense. Esther or Imata Flomo, CPP is always the first group of hateful opposition political parties to discover dead bodies. Why they are the only ones that know where dead bodies are. This isn't by mistake. It has been well planned by the hateful position that are against anything that is in the best interest of the Liberian people. And let's look at that for a bit, because we've seen pictures of dead bodies, and Imeta Flomo is saying, hey, this is not true. These things are being manufactured, and only the opposition people are finding these dead bodies. I have a problem with that. I don't know if we cannot authenticate these pictures that are flying around Facebook, but are we hearing anything from the government?
And then if I can chime in there, so if anything that she said is true, right? Whose responsibility it is to really find out is the opposition people doing these things. That's the government. The government is in control of the security arm. So let them conduct an investigation and let them be able to establish that here is the opposition that faking these things. You know, that is the problem that we have. Everybody supports their own devil, Mr. Gaiman would say, or support their own crows, Mr. Gaiman will say. Now, this is a Liberian citizen. We are hearing reports of Liberians dying, and she thinks it's because opposition are the one planning these things. Then let the government that is in charge investigate. Let these opposition folks out. And we are looking for a better country here.
Let me chime in real quick. Mm-hmm. I think she has a point to some degree, because at the beginning of this thing, last year we saw pictures on Facebook of dead people, decapitated people, disemboweled people, pictures all over the place, and they found out that some of these pictures came from different countries, and they were cut and paste. At the same token, we are seeing bodies, all some places in Liberia, and these actions do need to be investigated by the national security and the security of Liberia. And I'm saying the same thing here. I went to the city commissioner meeting. There's an election going on here in the Miami area, in South Florida, and I went to one of the debates. And one of the problems that the top security person has here from the FBI, they are saying the code of silence in our inner cities where we're finding bodies everywhere, people being shot, the code of silence. Why is it that as much security as we have, the citizens themselves are not coming forth to say, yes, I know who did this. My cousin did it, or my son did it. They are not coming forward. Everybody having their code of silence. And nobody is pointing out who are doing these killings. And we know who they are. And he said, you are pastors. These people are coming from your churches, from your mosques, from your secret society, and you know who they are. The security cannot be everywhere. So Liberia, it is not a government thing. It is not a security. We are all part of the security system. If you are next door and Ansony Sieh kills somebody, and because and I don't say anything, and I say, well, they don't find out, it's on them. It is not just the security thing. It is everybody's thing. And this code of silence, we have to address that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmer. I want to bring Dennis in, but it seems to be his connection. He's having some challenges there. I hope it improves.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Each man say, Dennis, you're sitting down in America, but the people on the ground know this has business as usual. What do you plan to do to enlighten and change that mindset? What can you and I do? We're doing that right now.
We're doing that right now. We're talking about it.
Emeta Flomo say, tell us the schools that EJS built during her 12 years administration. This thing we keep getting over and over. Oh, what's about EJS? Oh, what can you do? Hamilton Zilli say, I tend to agree with Dennis. The more our political space is marked by deception, mediocre attitude, misinformation, and the like. Our political leaders over the years have not been sincere and honest to us. Worst of all, we ourselves are contributing to this mayhem by celebrating and supporting their idiosyncratic behavior.
This one from Levin Thompson says, to the question asked, no. The legislature, nor the cabinet members and president are doing what they need to do for the people. Our recent current events of ritualistic or killings, whether for organs or power, is rampant. No jobs for the citizen. They continue to marginalize the citizen. And then it's talking about the ritualistic killing, right? And how government is not stepping in to really provide the security that it needs to provide for the people. We heard the leaked audio tape from Ellen Conkron indicting the president, indicting the Minister of Presidential Affairs, indicting the very, what's his name, Solicitor General. Nothing has been done. The President of the Republic is being accused of sacrificing young girls. The Solicitor General is in conversation with a psychopathic individual who recalls people, who is guilty of stealing $10 million, $6 million. And the Solicitor General did not even say anything about it even to today.
Well, let me push back on this.
No, I want Dennis to come in first.
No, before Dennis comes in.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's look at the source of the information here. You are talking about convicted felon, somebody who is calling from jail, somebody who is a thief, somebody who contributed to the killing of children, basically by looting massively from the coffer of the government, money that should have gone to infant mortality. All of those money were siphoned out of the country to come back now and accuse
all the allegations. No one should listen to her, right?
You cannot listen to somebody. She has no credibility.
Right. So, and that's the reason you want to look into it.
Yes.
But let's get this moving. Terry Hall said, we praise countries that we are far ahead of in terms of age. Ghana, Nigeria, always. Carl Famula say human capital development is supposed to come first. Mr. Gilman, I'm adding that one for emphasis. A fancy hospital building cannot adequately serve patients if the doctors and nurses are not properly trained. A fancy university building cannot educate students, and if I may add, waiving tuition would not educate students. You need actual teachers.
Can I respond to that before you move on?
I know the pro-poll agenda is a framework that was designed to work, but it is dead. And let me read a few more comments. Mark that down, Mr. Gilman.
Okay.
Let's hear from Washington Boca. He's a friend here. Please, the government needs to step up in protecting our people, and he supports the pro-poll government. And he's saying the government is not doing it.
Anthony Hooker earlier said the oppositions are lobbying against the government progress. Miata Stella Heron, but why didn't the pro-poll men do this research prior to this discussion right now? Why is it taking Ansony Sieh to bring this up before Mr. Gilman is telling us now? The opposition didn't need did Mr. Gilman. Miata also said the finance minister was in that trip, I believe. He went into the sewing class and purchased a shirt. Patrick Johnson, they are not in charge of the country, are they? Man, leave the people, yeah. The people you elected into power, you don't go ask them that opposition you will ask. VP Buakai is giving your fungal fever. So if you talk anything about VP Buakai, then you are in trouble.
You are in trouble.
Tipo Denso, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to answer no to this question. In totality, they are not serving the Liberian people. Mm-hmm. But now, Mr. Gilman, you can go ahead and respond.
Yeah, and when it comes to
Mr. Sieh, I think this time I was in the middle, but by the time you wrote there, you were in the middle.
Yeah, so let me
in the middle. It's very unfair.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you for that point there to say I'm unfair.
Mr. Gilman.
Yes, and when it comes to public policy, this is where I agree with my sister Cole. When we're talking about public policy, we're talking about in the American system or in the West, we say, especially from my perspective, we do not believe in linear solution. That means we can chew, gum, and walk and run and talk at the same time. Yes, to develop human capacity, it is also, you can also develop human capacity at the same time while you build infrastructure. Last week,
is that being done?
Yes, it's been done, and I'm going to give you an example. Last week, Monday, I saw the president of the Grand Bassa County University that was just elevated to a university at Furo Bay College, where they signed a memorandum of understanding where the entire faculty staff will rotate every year to fast track the bachelor's degree, those teachers with bachelor's degree, into the master's program, 1 year intensive master's program at Furo Bay College to build the capacity. This was signed this week. So starting January, 10 of the professors from Grand Bassa University College will rotate to Furo Bay College to build capacity. They are thinking over the next 10 years, they will have up to 100 of these professors, 25 PhDs to about 75 master's degree program. And this is the beginning of human capital development. While they are building school, they are also developing. Instead of sending everybody to the United States, like we all think, if you don't come to the United States, then your education is not valued. Furo Bay College is a very great partner, I think, and I think it's a great beginning.
Okay, a few more comments here. Hamilton Zilli said the Liberian scenario can be compared to Plato's allegory of the cave in the Republic. Bulk of us, uneducated and educated alike, are conditioned in a cave of ignorance where evil is hailed as good and good as evil. Jimmy Ismail is praising you here, Mr. Gilman. Say, excellent, Mr. Gilman. That is exactly the point. I'm not sure which one. Say, we need good security that will attract investors. Daniel said, the reason Liberia continue to suffer has to do with our constant inability to acknowledge our failures. We are never nationalistic, but rather we are sycophantic. And Ruben said, I think we overpraise our leaders so much that they feel they have done beyond and more required of them. It's appropriate to thank people, but not overly. The government is responsible for the citizenry. Felicia Davis, something needs to be done about all these people that are dying. People can be afraid living in their own country. The last one here is from Vincent. Too much partisan had destroyed our society. Too much preaching hate instead of educating the youth. Thank you all for your comments. Keep them coming here at Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia.
And gentlemen, to close, we will ask each of us to answer the question very briefly in 1 minute for your closing statement. We will start with Mr. Gilman. So, Mr. Gilman, the first question there: are the Liberian people being served well by the political actors?
This one, I will have to disagree that we have not served well. We have done well, but not to the expectation of the, and we have not managed our expectation very well. So in that light, I will say no.
And then on this one, are the Liberian people doing themselves justice by the way they support their parties and political leaders, including you?
No, we are not doing very well because most of us support our corner absolutely. Mm-hmm. And wherever you have absolute mind, you have no way to wiggle out. And this is why we have to change about how we support our people.
And finally, are the surrogates of Liberia's political parties fair, honest, balanced, and on the side of the Liberian people?
Well, I think Mr. Costa made it clear. He says, I am not in a business to be objective. I am a propagandist, and this is how I make my living. And at least he was honest to say that, but that's what they are all doing. Everybody have planted their own pole and said, this is my territory, and I'm going to defend it at all costs. So I think he was right on this one. They are not doing well for the Liberian people. They are hired to defend a person, a personality, and the end justify the means as far as he is concerned. So yes, they are not doing well for the folk. They're doing well for themselves and their own institutions.
And so what's the way forward to conclude?
Well, the way forward is for us to do what we are talking about. We have to continue to talk about it, to educate our folks. And I made it clear, when it comes to the national security of our country, it boils down to everybody. The code of silence is a major issue, even in the United States, in the West here. If you see something, you got to say something. The president or the security cannot be in Jellocan, cannot be in West Zone, cannot be everywhere at the same time. If you are near a ritualistic killer and they are related to you and you're not saying anything, you're not bringing it up to the attention of the security system. You're not bringing it to the police. And you think, well, the government didn't do. The government cannot be way in Grand Cess, in Crew Coast, how do you call it, place in Grand Bassa at the same time. So we are collectively responsible for the security of the state.
All right, Dennis.
Right. He said the government cannot be anywhere at the same time. Oh, yes, the government can be. That's why you have city mayor, you have justice of the peace or magistrate. That's why you have all these people around the country. But yes, I agree. We, the citizens, we have to play our part too. We have roles and responsibility. You know, we always talk about our rights. This is my right. This is my right. But we never talk about our role and responsibility as citizens. We pee anywhere. We throw dirt anywhere. The next time we are criticizing government for it. So, yeah. So what are the questions?
So then are the Liberian people being served well by the political actors? Are the Liberian people doing themselves justice by the way they support the political parties? And are the surrogates of these political leaders honest, fair, and balanced on the side of Liberian people?
Right. The political actors are not serving the people well. And that is very historical. It didn't start today. We have not been able to even demand what is right for us. And so maybe they take advantage of that and continuing to abuse, to use, to steal, to, in the word of one other politician, gang rape the country. So they've not done well. But we need to demand better because we the people. People say the people deserve the government they get. The Liberian people are not doing themselves well by, taking sides. And it's even more than politicians, right? Mm-hmm. Even talk show hosts like us, right? Mm-hmm. There are people. I was telling someone, I said, you can't go watch Jerry Springer and expect the news you get from C-SPAN to get it from Jerry Springer. If you should be able to delineate the tabloids from the real stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So if you go to a tabloid and they are spewing out all kind of gibberish and you swallow that and think you will get the news, you have yourself to blame, right? Go to the place you think you can get something authentic and don't just follow the crowd. So we have people, we have responsibility. People they want to get into the cave, as Zili said earlier. We criticize most of the time, condemn lawmakers. But when the lawmakers come to America, because they are from our district, we pile around with them. We organize the town hall meetings and move it with them, and they are right. So it is always the other guy that is doing worse. Then coming to the surrogates, I think the surrogates are doing what they're supposed to do, right? The surrogates, they are doing their job. That is, when it is black, call it blue, as long as they support your side. And so I don't find them, or I don't have a problem with that. That's what they've been paid to do. That's what they sign up to do, is lie to support you. And we give these things fancy names.
Are they actually being paid, Dennis? You know that?
Well, payment can be in cash or kind.
Okay. So what's the way forward on all this, Dennis?
Well, the way forward is education, right? The human capacity development. And it falls on the side of the government. But we as the Liberian people, we should be able to see and be able to demand what is right for us. Let us, sometimes if you don't even get the classroom, educate ourselves. I mean, you can go on YouTube now, and I'm not trying to make a page for Focus on Liberia, but you can get any video of Focus on Liberia, and that's a classroom by itself. So Liberian people, we should be able to educate ourselves as to what our rights and responsibilities are. Go after information. Try and get something that you can use. If someone is running to be representative and is coming to you and say, I'm going to build your road, be able to say, oh no, but that's not your responsibility. Lawmaking, oversight, all these things should be your responsibility. Now you are talking about building roads. We have opposition lawmakers that are supposed to be able to hold the government accountable. But when they get in there, I mean, they go with the wind. We should be able to call them out. We shouldn't always be voting people because of what will personally benefit. Other areas were not developed, right? When they started demanding, when they started having go slow actions, when they started to advocate for what is right for themselves. So we don't have to wait for people to always tell us what is right or do for us what we can do for ourselves. Let's go after information, educate ourselves, and use what we read or what we listen to be able to take positive action.
And talking about solution, how are you personally, Dennis, and your institution Focus on Liberia providing any solution to this problem that we have?
And that's what is difficult, to remain balanced, to remain objective in the midst of what is going on in the or social media, landscape. Because people are looking at views. Right now, they are calling other people Indian talk show, this talk show, because according to them, people are buying views because the Liberian people will go after where the views are. If they come on your show and they see that 60% watching, they say, oh man, it's not important. In other words, we want a bandwagon kind of thing. If other people watching it, it means it is good. So what do I do as a talk show host? Go and buy the views and let the people make believe that everybody is enjoying what I'm saying. I give an example to someone. I say, if Jerry Springer was playing and C-SPAN was playing, where you think the people will go? Jerry Springer will get the crowd. What we are focused on, Liberia, we try to do is remain authentic, remain objective. We keep to our core of educating, elevating, and promote all things Liberia, even if we don't get the support with me, if we don't get the accolades, if we don't get the cheers and the applause. If some will call us names and say, oh man, 1,000 persons now watching, we keep doing that. And I'm glad, and from the positive feedback we continue to get from even university lecturers, and say, hey, sometimes I go and watch your video, and we are encouraging our teachers, take one of the videos, take it to your class, let the student listen and be able to maybe do an essay or ask the right questions. In this way, we are contributing to the education of our people, and that's what is needed above all. So if nobody watching, and I tell all of you at Focus on Liberia, we are writing a book. Even if nobody reads it today, they will read it later, and it's going to make an impact in the life of a Liberian.
Thank you so very much. Dennis Jah is our CEO here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We brought you a very special edition of the Hour of Politics, which we have had Emmanuel Yato, who is a supporter of Cummings, to talk about the framework, given all the wahala that's going on. But he said there are challenges at his end. It's raining in Liberia, internet problem, so we couldn't have him. We rescheduled that, and we'll let you know when that will be. Well, this is how we will come to the end.
Mr. Sieh, before you end, I want to also say that we have extended invitation to people from the Unity Party. Okay, we have some of them in America said, well, no, we want people from Liberia to handle this. Others said, give us time, we'll prepare. And today, from what I got, they say the Unity Party, they had decided to wait for the committee's report before they come out to say something. At Focus on Liberia, we want to give everyone the opportunity. We've spoken to someone from Liberty Party. We were to speak to someone from the ANC. And so our invitations are out for someone from the Unity Party. They say they are waiting for the report and they will come out to address the issues that is unfolding in the CPP.
Thank you so very much, folks. This is how we will now come to the end of this broadcast. We brought you another exciting edition of the Hour of Politics, an open mind, interspersed with our crew here, providing some understanding analysis. Mr. Gilman, we can't thank you enough for always coming. On the question, are the Liberian people being served well by political actors? A big no. Now, on the question, are the Liberian people doing themselves justice by supporting their political parties and political leaders? No, they are not doing themselves justice. You know, a man is not worth to represent you. You trusted him. He betrayed your trust. In the case of Darius Dillon, who lied on a plane ticket, I've seen people still saying, I am a Dillon knight. Really? The guy who said he was going to take just 5,000 is taking 30,000 right in your face. The guy told you, hey, I'm not going to take 30,000 for the $5,000 car. He took it anyway. The guy said he's the light. He ran an election. There's no report. The election law calls for it. I'm using him as an example and I have my reason why. And you are still supporting him. So if Dillon is not doing what he's supposed to do and you are still supporting him, you are not doing yourself justice. You get what you deserve. Now, on the issue of the surrogate, then they said they're doing what they're supposed to do. That's what they call them surrogates. They're supposed to look at black and say it's white. Really? Well, I may agree that they are doing what they're supposed to do, but they are not serving Liberia well, and this is unfortunate. You have some of them cashing out. Yesterday, one would say he's a dead man walking, and today he's saying he is the best thing that ever happened to Liberia. Really? He will say he's sadistic, he's a tribalist, that's the only thing he knows, that's the only thing he does, and he comes to you, and he say he is the best, and you cheer him. And you go as far as calling him your hero. Another one will stand on top of the car. He will look in the mirror and say, this person is this, calling the person name. He goes live and insult. And you Liberian people are watching them. And you call them hero. And even some of them, they are saying they're running. And you say you will vote for them and you support them. You justify for them. You defend them. I, Ansony, say to you, you are a shame to this country called Liberia, and you can come after me for that. I have no reason to apologize because I'm looking for a land of glorious opportunity. With these games, this sycophantic behavior, it will not get us there, and I will not stomach it. If you hate me, so do so. That is your right to do so. That is how we will come to the end of this another firing edition of the Hour of Politics, as we will always close with the song, We Are All Liberians. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our